Hello, good evening and warm welcome to Prime Business with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Coming up, US-based finance professor predicts mixed development for Ghana following an increase in the US interest rate to 3.75% by the Federal Reserve.
Government must be intentional in making sure that some agricultural products are exported out of the country and not agricultural products per se, if we're able to strengthen our manufacturing processes.
Also, Bank of Ghana reviews liquidity requirements for commercial banks as cedi's depreciation hits hard at the operations. Plus, poultry farmers predict the cost of a full chicken to hit between 150 and 200 cedis during the festive season.
A lot of the raw material that we are using, because they are imported, and as a result of the unstable forest also affected. So that is one of the major reasons.
We've got details of these and many more in a moment. Please stay. On to our very first story. US-based finance professor at Andrews University, Williams Pripra, is predicting a mixed development for the country as a result of the increase in the US interest rate to 3.75%. The Federal Reserve yesterday increased the benchmark rate to its highest in 14 years. According to him, the increase in interest rate would make investing in the US economy better than Ghana, leading to capital flight and a stronger dollar. Professor Williams Pripra also urged government to focus more on its export in order to rake in more foreign exchange to shore up the country's reserve. He spoke earlier on Business Live.
Anytime your currency devalues, like what is happening in Ghana, it makes cheaper your products to other parts of the world. So, for example, in the US, yam is now becoming one of the commodities that a lot of people are now patronizing. I know that in Ghana, yam is a crop, one of the food crops that we can export into the United States. Can Ghana, the government, be intentional assisting Ghanaians to export yam into the United States? You'll be surprised that you just buy, here is by weight, so less than a kilo, you buy like around almost $10. And in Ghana, the same type of tuber of yam, you get it around, say, 25 Ghana cedis. So the government must be intentional in making sure that some agricultural products are exported out of the country and not agricultural product per se. If we're able to strengthen our manufacturing processes, Ghana becomes cheaper to export things out of the country. This is the only way to make sure that we get back the foreign currencies we are losing. So the focus should be on export and make sure that the government addresses that. I know at this particular moment there is this kind of confusion in terms of the issue of the fuel prices and the rest, but someone should have an eye on the export to promote export now. And this can also help the country getting foreign currency.
More on the economy, and the Bank of Ghana has taken some extra measures to help improve liquidity for commercial banks in the country. The move has been influenced by how the cedi's depreciation is impacting negatively on the lending operations of banks. My colleague George Yafe has more.
One of the measures that has been reviewed is the amount that commercial banks can hold at the Bank of Ghana for every cedi and dollar collected as deposits. The banks were initially required to provide cover depending on the currency that they had mobilized. But they argued that looking at the current pressure on the Ghana cedi, it will be prudent for this measure to be reviewed, a call that was answered by the regulator. The action is expected to improve the liquidity position of banks, a move that is expected to impact on their lending operations. Commercial banks had argued that the previous restrictions was really impacting negatively on their business, a move that is also expected to impact on their ability to lend to businesses and support other banking operations. The Bank of Ghana believes this review may help deal with credit extension pressures on most of the commercial banks in the country. But for some, making more money available to these banks to aid their operations, what could be the impact of inflation going forward? And whether the Bank of Ghana to try and stabilize the situation.
Now, among the 35 companies listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange in 2022, women hold 25% of the board seats and 27% of the non-executive director seats, which is not different from what is pertained in 2021. Well, this is contained in the 2022 Board Diversity Index report released by the Boardroom Africa in partnership with the Ghana Stock Exchange. According to the report, the figures indicate that progress towards gender diversity has stalled since last year. Ayimode Aborowa is the programs manager for the Boardroom Africa and has been speaking to my colleague Daryl Kwao on the marketplace.
When we look at the females that are in the corporate secretary roles, also corporate secretaries can form as a pipeline to potential director roles. So it also could be inferred that, this pipeline is not being effectively used in terms of progress for board diversity.
I mean, you talk about the fact that boards must be refreshed. What can be done to bridge the gender gap on boards?
Yes, I think the most important point is understanding that there's actually a problem and recognizing that something has to be done. And this recognition should influence a decision to act. So that decision can then cut to, companies instituting policies that ensure that, there is a mandate for, X percent or 30%, which is actually the international standard, 30% of women on our boards. Additionally, at the Boardroom Africa, we have our Board Diversity Charter, which is an initiative that calls on organizations to sign on to signal their commitment towards board diversity. Board diversity is typically seen as a checklist exercise, i.e., we have women on our boards and that's the end. But we want to ensure that progress is continued. So by signing on that charter, it's companies committing towards doing something to ensure that they're working at their gender diversity makeup.
Now, poultry farmers are predicting the cost of full chicken to hit between 150 cedis to 200 cedis during the festive season. According to them, prices of feed for their poultry have doubled in the last few months as a result of the cedi depreciation and high costs of import of other farm input. Greater Accra President of the Ghana Poultry Association, Isaac Awuza, spoke on the marketplace.
Soya bean made at beginning of the year, we're buying it at 200 Ghana cedi. Now, as I'm talking to you, it's over 600 Ghana cedi per 50 kg bag. And you buy it today, tomorrow, by the time you go back, the price has changed. So a lot of the raw material that we are using, because they are imported, and as a result of the unstable forest also affected. So that is one of the major reasons. Another major thing that is affecting us is the unavailability of maize. Fortunately for us, this year we couldn't get, much harvest. And as a result of that, the maize even is not available for you to buy in order to produce the feed. And the feed prices, can tell you, has quadrupled. And majority of our farmers have decided to fold up or even to reduce the number of birds that they are having. And this is what is really affecting the poultry industry.
I know you guys are struggling a lot. Plus, you have to compete with imports, right?
That is true. Currently, the local industry is taking just about 2%, and even this 2% is even being threatened. And about 98% of imported chicken is being brought into the country, and this is really affecting the local poultry industry. And the earlier the government come to the aid of the poultry industry, especially Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association, the better for the poultry industry, because of the importation of this frozen chicken into the country. It seems there's no help, there's no assistance for the local poultry industry, and this is also really affecting us. Very much in the poultry industry.
Moving on to some other stories, the National Petroleum Authority has defended the recent hikes in prices of petroleum products at the pumps. According to the authority, the unstable foreign exchange market makes it difficult for importers to get products. Head of Communications at the National Petroleum Authority, Mohammed Kudus, tells Joy Business that there was an unexpected situation which caused the increment before the normal pricing window.
I'm allowed to borrow the expression of the president when he said that we are in crisis. It means that we are not in normal times. Similar with our industry, we are not in normal times. Critical things that determine the price of the product, okay, is the forex, the cost of the dollar, and the cost of the product on the international market. Unexpectedly, and something we've not seen for a long while, the cedi kept changing within the week. Okay, the reason that we are able to do the 2 weeks window is because of the stability that we have in the market. So it allows you a certain predictability. So you know that the cedi will remain stable. Even if it was going to erode or gain, it will be a little marginal. But in this particular case, you realize that we're having a cedi that we started around 6 the beginning of the year, was close to almost 15 somewhere last week. And to where you have within a spate of, let's say, a week, the cedi is losing its value against the dollar. What it means is that it is going to be eroding the gains and capital of the marketers, okay? And given that it determines the price and how the final price is arrived at, and that is basically what we do at MPA. We try to see what is it that has informed your price. And so knowing what was happening in the market, we felt that it was nothing untoward. So it is not as though the window has been suspended. No, the window still remains, the principle still remains, but we're being sensitive to the practicality of the day, the real issue that has confronted the marketer, so that you allow the marketer to be able to still be in business, so the marketer can still bring the product into the market and the consumers can still get the product.
This is still Prime Business with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Now, some producers of goods made in Ghana say they are losing profits due to the hike in cost of raw materials in production. They are among other producers and traders in various commercial areas in the country complaining about the current economic situation. Nana Boachi Dankwa Yadom pulls a spotlight on footwear production in Kumasi.
Over here is Roman Hill, Edum, the most vibrant commercial area in the Ashanti region. With a clear insight of the current global economic challenges, today our conversation features producers of Ghana-made goods, particularly Ghana-made shoes.
Alaji is a hard-working shoemaker who has been doing this for about 8 years now. According to him, 2,000 cedis, which used to be a starting capital some time ago, is now something very less to begin with. He says customers have also reduced the number of shoes they could purchase. He pleads with government to intervene with people who sell out materials to reduce the prices.
No be a 20 kwan wa ya man be ne nipa ne frewa no bu so say ne bu say da say o kan bo na o say ne mintimi o e say be 20 che o 10 be say bo na o ba man no so ntimi ana do ma o koton amon so muso ntimi so ne say Ghana ha na yete ne yenye leda. I
don't get bias because all of them are complaining of the prices.
33-year-old Bayo Andrews has been in the business for about 11 years now. The piece of shoe Bayo could produce weekly has been affected by the price increase in raw materials.
Bayo Andrews, my age, she do balcony. And near mano, ne torno, and near my young toddy ye jumano. And our money manas, as they say, I know, first, no near Koto solution idea, Jumay. Na first year, tono 130, 1.3, it's 130 cities. But within this year, shoot it to 2.5.
We used to buy these materials at 130 cities. Currently, we are buying them at 250 cities.
Yen party, also know this can be blue. Now, would be a cotadian, yen party. Oh no, now Wabel catch us yen party, and who never now the man and our sea and who was sent to.
Speaking to Mr. Joseph, who has also been into the shoemaking business for about 10 years now. A piece of shoe produced by Mr. Joseph used to be sold at 30 cedis and 35 cedis up until September this year. Currently, a pair of shoes is being sold at 45 cedis.
boko bia de beti bia ne yatum ade beti bia ne yatum ade beti bia ne yatum nti amama wo kwa se obi wa akora bia wo che na adwuma kora ante se wo ka se on tene fie ko obi wa ma je ne se me che na adwuma me ni ska o nti bo an se adwuma na akoso nti ana price na akoso nti o se mama akora ne tene fie na me so kakara me
I had to sack my apprentices because I could not bear the cost of production anymore.
The 50 cedis be se mo de be 10 cedis na atoso leather you say leather na say ne buko akura apod from man intimate leather no the first need the more 35 now you say you akogina it say 45 na the more but still I want say the more be say 4% on the more be 35 and 40 cedis so no kwa intimate this is why they say treat this is why say oteso maybe all the man 45 na say when you big kakra for me.
Safo Hayford, a distributor of shoes produced by Alaji, is from Mampontein. He says he is unable to buy shoes in several pieces for distribution due to the high prices coupled with increase in fuel prices.
And this for these shoes for 45 cedis, 50 cedis. But when I contacted the man who does it, he told me it's now selling for 70 Ghana, of which I am coming to buy so that I go and sell it to other people. And I'm coming here to buy it for 70 Ghana cedis. How much am I going to sell it to those my customers? So things are getting out of hand. So we will plead to the government to do something about our economy.
Moving on to some other stories, the Ghana Enterprises Agency is targeting to train about 3,000 youth in the Upper East region and guide them to become successful entrepreneurs between now and the year 2024. Through the Youth Start initiative, the agency hopes to train the youth in various job models and support them with grants to start and grow their own businesses. Correspondent Albert Sori has more.
The Youth Start initiative is being implemented by the Ghana Enterprises Agency under the Ghana Jobs and Skills Project. The project runs from now to the year 2024. Funded by the World Bank, Youth Start aims to support skills development and job creation in Ghana and will provide entrepreneurship training to 50,000 youth across the country. 3 levels of entrepreneurship training will be offered: the basic, intermediate, and advanced levels. Participants who reach the advanced stage will then be given mentoring and coaching support, which includes guidance to prepare business plans, meet business registration and licensing requirements, and connect with input and output markets. At a program to give orientation about the Youth Start initiative to some youth in Bolgatanga, the Upper East Regional Director of the Ghana Enterprises Agency, Bukari Mohammed, said at least 3,000 youth of the region stand the chance of benefiting from the initiative.
First of all, you must be a Ghanaian. If you're a Ghanaian, you are qualified to apply. But we also narrow it down to Ghanaians who fall within the age of 18 years to 40. The problem that we are facing currently in Ghana is youth unemployment. You see, so this program is tailored towards addressing youth unemployment in Ghana. If you're a school dropout, but you have a small business that you are already managing, you can apply to benefit from this program. People with disability can apply for this program. And the minimum qualification, education that you should have to benefit from this program is BC.
He said grants will be available to support selected youth who successfully undergo the training up to the intermediate level.
You have to go through series of trainings. We have modules that you go through. We do the screening. So if you are able to go through the processes and you are screened to benefit from the grant, then that is you are qualified to apply for the grant. But if you don't go through these processes, the grant does not stand alone for you to just go and apply and pick grants. You must go through these models and qualify before you can receive the grant support. And you know, grants normally you don't pay back, but we have to ensure that you use the grant for the purpose it is intended to do.
Some of the aspiring entrepreneurs who attended the orientation said they have high hopes of achieving their dreams through the You Start initiative.
Most of persons with disability, this program will help us in a way. For us to find a job is very difficult. We are working hard, but our business are not going further because marketing is not good.
I'm doing smoke business, retail. I buy the smokes here and I sell it. I go down south and I sell it. This program, actually, if they meant what they are saying and they're able to support us with little funding, it will boost our businesses. At least if you have enough money, you'll be able to buy, getting to 30, 40 smokes, and then you send it. Looking at the cost and transportation.
Fashion designer based in Bulga Upper East. I think this fund or this grant will go a long way to help apprentices or graduates who want to establish their own business. They are talking of equipment. So if I have my facility and I need equipment to improve on my business, this is what will help my business.
For Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
And that's it for Prime Business with me, Pious Kojo Backah. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business.